A very good morning to all of you. Welcome to Breakfast News with the Sentinel. So let me run you through the top stories in today morning's The Sentinel. So first up, of course, is news about the floods across the state of Assam. The toll has been rising. It is now at 89 lives lost due to floods across Assam. The situation continues to remain grim. 26 of the 33 districts have been affected by floods. In fact, it is just yesterday that the Met Department had predicted heavy rains in Assam and across the northeastern states. Of course, Meghalaya too is facing flood fury there. 5 deaths have already happened. Really grim situation as far as the northeastern states are concerned. Of course, the worst affected so far being Assam with 89 deaths. The number of people affected stands at 26,31,343 people affected across 2,525 villages. So really a very critical situation as far as the flood situation in the state is concerned. Those are some of the pictures up there on your screen. In fact, there's a lot of distress across the state because the COVID numbers too are rising across the state. So a double whammy for the people and the government and the local authorities too. Lot of erosion happening across districts of Assam. That also is causing a lot of distress for the people. They are spending sleepless nights because they do not know when their cattle, their poultry, their houses might get washed away because of the water that has been rising. The rivers, the major rivers, Brahmaputra, Jiabharali, Dhansiri, Beki, all the rivers rising. Some of them already have crossed the danger level mark. We have been bringing you updates from Guwahati as well. The Brahmaputra has touched the danger level mark in Guwahati. It had almost reached the danger level mark yesterday. We will bring in the updates about the danger level situation of the Brahmaputra in Guwahati city later today. We will update you on all of those. Of course, the rescue and relief operations continue across the state. The NDRF, SDRF, the local administration, all they have pressed all their services into action for the relief and rescue of the flood-affected people. Remember, the Kaziranga National Park, 95% of the park is underwater. Animal rescue going on there in full swing. Chief Minister Sarbananda Sonowal has been visiting most of the flood-affected areas. State Finance and Health Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma also visited the flood-affected areas. He was there in Kaziranga to take stock of the situation. 281 relief camps have been set up and 45,281 people have taken shelter in these relief camps. Meanwhile, the state government has released an amount of 50 crore rupees. This amount has been released under the State Disaster Response Fund. The amount has been released to the district and subdivisional administrations. The amount would be spent on providing relief and essential items to the flood-affected people. The central government also has extended its financial relief. Some money is expected to come in from the center as well. An amount of 346 crore rupees would be released to the Assam government to fight the flood, erosion, landslides that the people are facing at this point of time, to address all the concerns there as far as flood and erosion is concerned. So the Union Jal Shakti Minister, Gajendra Singh Shekhawat, has assured Assam Chief Minister Sarbananda Sonowal that this amount would be coming in for the government, for the state government, to help the government in its efforts to address all the issues related to floods that the state is seeing at this point of time. Also, the other major factor here, it's not just the heavy rains and the rivers rising. There is the water that's flowing in from the neighboring state of Meghalaya. That is causing a lot of concerns in several districts. There's water flowing in from Bhutan that also is adding to the flood situation that the people of the state are facing. Several districts being affected by flood. Also, help has come in from the Indian Red Cross Society. They have distributed 9,283 tarpaulins amongst the needy families. In fact, they have managed to help reach out to 46,000 people in the shelters. They have distributed 9,283 tarpaulins to 46,000 people in the past few days. Now, the other big story this morning is about the situation that's been building up in Ladakh. The tension has been simmering between India and China. We all know what happened with our Jawans. 20 Jawans lost their lives there in Galwan Valley. So the Defense Minister, Rajnath Singh, has urged the Indian Air Force to stand ready to handle any eventuality on the border with China. The Defense Minister was with the Indian Air Force officials yesterday. In fact, he said this while reviewing the Indian Air Force operational capabilities and deployments at forward locations. Those are the visuals on your screen from the meeting from yesterday with the Indian Air Force officials there, with the Indian Air Force personals. So the minister has asked the Indian Air Force to be ready for any eventuality. He was there reviewing the operational capabilities and deployments at forward locations amid the tense border situation with China along the line of actual control. So that is another important national story there in the Sentinel this morning. Moving on to the COVID situation in the state of Assam. So given the fact that the COVID cases are expected to peak by mid-September, the state government has decided to ramp up testing. So what the target now that the state government has set for itself is 25,000 tests per day. So this is what the state health minister Himanta Biswa Sharma has said, that they will ramp up the tests to 25,000 per day from the current 18,000 tests being conducted every day. The state health minister Himanta Biswa Sharma said, and I quote, by August 1st, on an average, 2,000 COVID-19 cases will be reported daily in the state. The beginning of the Unlock 1.0 in the metropolitan city is set to raise the number of corona-positive cases. We are readying 10,000 beds in the city. We are also laying emphasis for improved treatment facilities in various areas in the state, unquote. So the state completely, one more time, getting prepared, because the central government has also said that the cases in Assam is expected to go up to 65,000 by August. So the state government doing everything that it can do to get ready with all kind of facilities to help with the rising COVID cases. Now, the other news that really was not very pleasant that happened yesterday is the explosion that took place in Baghdad, the oil well that has been burning since June 9th. There, in fact, the mishap occurred when the experts were trying to kind of contain, carry on with the operations to cap the burning well. The explosion took place, and 3 foreign experts who were there on location, those are the visuals there. These are actually visuals when the incident took place in Baghdad in Tinsukia. 3 of the foreign experts, they were injured. They received minor burn injury. That is what the Oil India officials informed. They were rushed to the hospital. The explosion took place when they were at that location. They were working on the site, and the explosion took place. They had received minor burn injuries, and they were released from the hospital after the dressing they were given. Now, what the oil officials did say is that the operations are expected to resume today. Meanwhile, the Central Petroleum Minister, Dharmendra Pradhan, took stock of the situation of whatever had happened yesterday. Of course, earlier, these are actually visuals that you're seeing on the screen are from earlier days when most of the ministers visited Bagjan. This is Industries Minister Chandra Mohan Patwari. He had visited the location soon after the well had caught fire. The chief minister had visited. In fact, the chief minister was accompanied by Union Petroleum Minister Dharmendra Pradhan. Many of the other ministers, they were there. They visited Bagjan. They met the affected families. And Oil India had, in fact, in the first round of compensation, they had compensated 1,610 families with an amount of 30,000 rupees each. Then they had the oil authorities had paid another round of compensation. Very recently, they had paid an amount of 2.20 crore rupees to about 11 families. And in fact, they had also offered a job, and they had paid a compensation to the family of the farmer who consumed pesticides, and he lost his life because he was totally distressed. He lost his property and house and everything because of the fire in the Bagjan well. So the oil authorities still paying compensation to the affected families. The two committees that has been set up by the central government and the state government to look into the Bagjan blowout, they are still conducting their survey there, trying to come to actually trying to find out what actually happened. And also these committees are also looking at the compensation that needs to be paid to the affected families. So a lot of families still staying in the relief camps that has been set up by Oil India for the affected families. Now, let us move on to stories from the other northeastern states. Of course, COVID continues to be there in the headlines. Numbers rising across the northeastern states. In Arunachal Pradesh, the total number of positive cases has gone up to 858. 68 fresh COVID cases were reported, taking the count to 858. So, lot of, though the capital complex continues to be under lockdown, cases just rising across Northeast. Meghalaya too, the total tally has gone up to 514. The number of active cases in Meghalaya has gone up to 433. Now, that is an update as far as the COVID cases in the two states of Northeast is concerned. We've already spoken about the update in Assam. In Assam, the number has crossed 27,000 mark. That's the number of positive cases. Now, moving on to some good news for the region, in fact, in particular for Manipur. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is expected to lay the foundation stone for the Manipur water project. That is some good news coming in as far as the development, infrastructure development of the region is concerned. In keeping with the government thrust on the Northeast, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will lay the foundation stone for the Manipur water supply project on Thursday through video link. Now, the central government has been laying a lot of emphasis on water supply across the northeastern states. They have set targets for every state, and the Jal Shakti ministry has been really pushing. They have been writing to the state governments, they have been writing to the state chief ministers to ensure that safe drinking water is provided to every village, every rural area of Northeast. That is something that the government has been pushing for, the Narendra Modi government has been pushing for. So now moving on to the other story here, this is about the rainfall. Needless to say, everybody from the region, you all know we are facing a lot of rain over the past few days. In fact, not something that many people would be looking forward to, because the rains have been bringing a lot of misery, lot of landslides, roadblocks happening across the Northeast. Worst hit, of course, has been Arunachal Pradesh. There we have been reporting about lives being lost because of landslide. Guwahati city too had seen a lot of misery as far as rains and landslides are concerned. Deaths have happened in Guwahati also due to landslides. Now, as far as the estimates from the Indian Council of Agricultural Research is concerned, the ICAR scientists have said that of the 8 northeastern states, including Assam, 5 have received excess rain, and the remaining 3 have reported deficiencies there. So the erratic monsoon is likely to affect both Kharif and Rabi crops in the region. So already farmers in Assam seeing a lot of misery because of the floods, the heavy rains, water coming down from state of Meghalaya, water coming down from Bhutan. So lot of misery at this point of time as the states continue to fight COVID as well as the flood situation. That these visuals are actually that visual there of Conrad Sangma is because Meghalaya has been seeing a lot of rainfall and more rainfall expected in the coming days, as has been predicted by the Met Department. That is the tweet from Meghalaya Chief Minister Conrad Sangma. The tweet is from yesterday, where day before yesterday, where he had expressed grief over the loss of lives due to floods. In fact, 4 children died because of floods in the West Garo Hills, and Tikrikila and Demdema areas worst hit by floods in Meghalaya. Amit Shah tweet there, where Amit Shah had spoken to Meghalaya Chief Minister Conrad Sangma and assured all help from the center to fight the flood situation, for all the relief and rescue operations as far as floods in Meghalaya is concerned. Amit Shah too expressing grief over the loss of lives due to floods in the state of Meghalaya. So that is an update as far as some of the top headlines in the Sentinel this morning. Before I wind up today's edition, let me leave you with an update as far as the COVID positive cases across the northeastern states are concerned. The number in Assam has gone up to 27,744. In Tripura, the number stands at 3,394. In Manipur, the number has gone up to 2,015. In Nagaland, the number stands at 1,087. In Arunachal Pradesh, as mentioned earlier, the number has gone up to 858. Mizoram, the number has gone up to 317. In Sikkim, the number has gone up to 330. And in Meghalaya, the number has gone up to 514. So that's all for now. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. Till we meet again tomorrow morning, same time, same place. Do log in to sentinelassam.com for all the news and updates. Stay updated with sentinelassam.com and the Sentinel. Do not forget to follow us, subscribe to us on Facebook. Also find us on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Thank you so much. See you again. Stay safe. Goodbye.